Hello, everyone. Today is October the 3rd, and it is time for our Ask Me Anything session. And I did get a few questions. Thank you, Penny. I would love to hear from all of you, and even just give me a topic to talk about. I was thinking today we'll talk about fasting. I've been getting a lot of requests about fasting. I think our very first Q&A, I want to say Tara, I could be wrong, asked me how I felt about intermittent fasting, and I'm kind of changing my ways. And so I wanted to update all of you on that. So let me look and see if I have any comments right now. No, which is fine because I will get right on to Penny's questions. Okay, so what are your favorite ways to save money when buying fruits and vegetables at the store? So that is a really good question. I do always look for organic or non-GMO. I've also read, I haven't verified if this is true, but I think it is. If it has 5 digits and starts with the number 9, that means it is organic. We do buy locally as much as we can. Buying straight from the farm is usually a better deal. I know we have a CSA, and so we grow a lot of our own fruits and vegetables. And so that makes it difficult for me to share with those of you who are shopping at the store. So a lot of times I like fresh, whole foods. And so it's really whatever it's going to be. I have found that if I just, number one, shop seasonally, that's for everybody, whether you're trying to save money or not. We should all be trying to save money. Always shop seasonally right now. And I even just on the grocery list, I don't do the grocery shopping, my husband does, but on the grocery list, I'll just write seasonal fruit. And so he knows, I'm not sure how plums are doing right now, but for a while their plums were fresh. I think mangoes are coming into season. I've been getting some really delicious mangoes, but just making sure you're buying foods that are in season. Right now, apples are coming into season. Ours have already petered out. Apples and pears, those are great. Right now with a lot of your lettuces, those should be in season now that it's getting cooler again. And then, so just looking to see what fruits and vegetables, your winter squashes, butternut squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash. I'm cooking one of those this week. So shopping seasonally is usually your best deal when it comes to fruits and vegetables. So when is frozen just as good? So that is a great question. So number one, we want to look at quality because a lot of times when it's frozen, it can get mushy. And so like even freezing your own, sometimes it doesn't work out. But frozen is usually going to be better than something that sat on the shelf. So if you're not coming straight from the farm, if the food doesn't look fresh on the shelves, then go get the frozen, especially when it comes to like berries. Like if I'm buying blueberries this time of year where we live, blueberries are no longer in season. Frozen blueberries are going to be fresher. They pick them right at the peak freshness. They're not going to be able to ripen anymore after they pick them. And so they pick them right when it's the perfect time to pick them, and then they flash freeze them. And so usually as far as nutrition goes, it's going to be best if you buy something out of season. And I forgot where else I was going to go with that. Nutrition, and quality is probably going to be better. Taste is going to be better if you're buying something out of season. So that's when I would pick. But usually frozen is going to be just as good. It's just the quality is not going to be there. And you do lose some antioxidants and things, especially like vitamin C, the longer it sits and stuff like that. So if you're buying peppers that are out of season, peppers are usually in the summer and early fall here where we live. So if I want to buy peppers, which I usually buy them year round, if I buy them in February, that they're not going to be in season. They've been sitting on the shelves for a long time. And so I don't like frozen peppers, so I'm not going to buy them frozen. I just don't like the quality. I don't like kind of get mushy or whatever. And so I wouldn't buy those, but nutritionally, they probably are better to buy them frozen if you buy them out of season. And what do you buy every single week? So there are a lot of things that I buy every single week, but I try to alternate my foods. You don't want to eat something every single day. Your body can get sensitive to it. For me, blueberries, I love blueberries. And so I buy blueberries every single week. Apples, usually kale, a Chinese cabbage. I like Napa cabbage, so we buy that usually. And then I'll alternate green cabbage or purple cabbage. Green cabbage one week, purple. I always buy carrots. I always buy lots of different canned beans and dried beans. My daughter, she gets up and cooks her own breakfast, and so she'll use frozen peas or canned beans, and usually corn, frozen corn. So that's something that I buy. I buy the frozen, already cut corn. Make sure you get non-GMO corn. Trying to think of what else. All of your nuts and seeds, flax, chia, hemp. I make sure I'm always stocked on those. I don't necessarily buy them every week. Parsley and cilantro, I usually buy them every week if I don't have them growing. Peppers every week. And probably zucchini. And then whatever seasonal fruit, I buy that every week too. So I can't really think. There's probably more that I buy every single week. And Shane could probably tell us more too. But if you have questions, more questions about that, let me know. So I was thinking it would be good to talk about intermittent fasting, all the different kinds of fasting. Actually, I've had a lot of questions about fasting. Our very first Q&A was about fasting, and I wasn't really into it, but I'm studying it some more, learning more about it. We did talk about a long time ago. Some of you are new to me, but maybe a year or so ago, I wrote an article about making sure that you fast before you go to sleep. So stopping your meals 3 hours before you go to bed, so your blood sugar goes up and back down. Insulin has already been taken care of, and growth hormone can come out to help clean up, especially cleaning up the brain. If you're someone who's concerned about Alzheimer's and things like that, it's very, very important that blood sugar is already leveled out before you go to bed, so that those hormones can come into play to help clean up your brain. And so it's important to have breaks throughout the day. So when I first started my nutrition courses way back in the mid 90s, we talked about eating like 6 times a day, 3 meals and some small snacks. And the more we learn, the more we realize it's good to have those breaks in between. If you are going to eat 3 large meals, you do not need snacks in the middle. If you are only eating, if you're nibbling, you eat like a rabbit, then you may need some small snacks throughout the day. But if you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then make sure that you're giving yourself several hours so your blood sugar goes up and down and levels out. And then you let everything kind of settle. Your digestion settles, your hormones balance, and we do have some of that growth hormone that comes out to help with repair and recovery. Especially if you're working out, you definitely want that to happen throughout the day. So for me, I aim for about 5 hours between my meals. Now, Dr. Greger, he's from nutritionfacts.org. I don't know how many of you follow him. Some people say he's biased because he's vegan. He does look at different articles. He reads all of the articles on PubMed every year. He does several videos, sends out blogs and things like that. And he's got a book coming out on intermittent fasting, our time restricted fast. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, so he says that yes, you do need these breaks in between for fasting, but a lot of people time their fasting where they don't break their fast until noon, and then they eat later in the day. And he's finding that it's much better to break your fast early in the day, start with breakfast, and then eat an early dinner, and then give yourself several hours before you go to bed. That helps with weight control and things like that, that it's better to eat early and then rest later in the day. And so I'm kind of combining several different methods here. We have intermittent fasting, we have fasting mimicking, and we have alternating fasting. And so what sounds right for you? Who is this right for or harmful for? If you have blood sugar, if you cannot get your blood sugar balanced, then you need to have kind of timed meals and work on that first. Don't work on the intermittent fasting and all of those. If you are someone who gets really hangry, then fasting isn't right for you until you can get that under control. That's usually a blood sugar issue. If you are someone who is chronically stressed out, your adrenals are burnt out, if you fast, then your body is already in survival mode. It is going to really be in survival mode. That is not going to be a good situation for you. You need to take care of your adrenals, let your body know that you are safe first before you start to incorporate something like fasting. And so there are some conditions where fasting is not right for you. Now, that being said, you can still probably do, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and breaks in the middle. I'm talking more about the longer fasts. So a lot of you probably watched the What Do You Eat Summit that JJ Virgin just did. I can't remember what it was called, but I put the link up there so that hopefully a lot of you caught it. And pretty much all of the people on those summits and those talks talked about fasting in some method. So a lot of people will do a 24-hour fast. A lot of people will do at least 12 hours. That's what's recommended, is at least 12 hours. So if you finish eating at hopefully 7 o'clock at night, you don't eat again until 7 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully you're all going to bed by 10. And so if you stop your meals by 7 and don't start your meals until 7, that gives you at least a 12-hour window. Optimal is to do 14 to 16 hours to kind of close up that window. And so I am making sure that I'm getting at least the 12 hours. And I've been trying to kind of shorten the window on both sides. So I'm one of those people that if I don't eat breakfast, I can get hangry. And so right now I'm up to 9 a.m. when I eat my breakfast, and then just trying to shorten my dinners too. It's hard here on the farm because Shane doesn't come in until the sun goes down. And so we eat dinner late. I really struggle to get the 3 hours before bedtime. So I just have to be honest there with y'all. I know it's hard. It's hard, especially with school schedules. Tomorrow night, my daughter won't get home until 8 p.m. So we like to eat together as a family. Do we wait till she gets home? What's the right thing to do for that, right? So finding what works for you. So something else, the fasting mimicking diet. So there's one where you can purchase items. They tell you what to eat. They give you exactly what to eat and when to eat. And you go usually 5 days eating this method, and then you go back to eating your regular way. Some people have adapted that program. It's a fasting while feasting program. I actually have that program that I can help people with. But you restrict what you're eating for 5 days, making sure that you're looking at nutrition. Nutrition is very important for 5 days, and then you go back to eating regularly. And so you're kind of alternating your calories. Some people will do, trying to think. So some people will do a 24-hour fast once a week, or maybe once every 3 or 4 days. And you look at like religion, a lot of religions, they have a day of fast where they don't eat when they stop eating when the sun goes down, and then they start when the sun goes up. Somebody's calling me. And so there are different conditions where people have been fasting for forever. So here's one thing that's important to talk about is what breaks a fast. So anything that you eat that has calories is going to break your fast. If you put creamer in your coffee, you just broke your fast. Coffee, some people, coffee is fine. For some people, coffee can spike your blood sugar. For me, it makes my blood sugar plummet. And so I know coffee is not right for me. I do encourage all of you to test coffee to see if coffee is right or wrong for you too. So anything that has calories, if you have a juice that has calories, so if you wake up and you have a juice, then you just broke your fast. So anything that has calories, that's breaking your fast. So if you're trying to do the 12 hours, water is fine, herbal tea is fine. Coffee doesn't have any calories, but just make sure that it's not something that does cause blood sugar problems for you. And so for you, what feels right for you? If you can go longer, then that's fine. If you can do 2 meals a day, that is fine. One of my concerns though, is to make sure that you're getting all of your nutrients met and that you're not restricting calories too much. If you are only eating 1 meal a day and you're only eating 800 calories, then you may feel fine for a few days, but then your body's going to kick into survival mode. It's going to say, hey, we're starving. And then you're going to start conserving, your metabolism is going to slow down, and then you will probably start gaining weight. Your body is just going to store any fat that you eat. And so I don't recommend that you eat too few calories. You still eat what you would normally eat. It's just in a shorter period of time. So before I keep going, I did not talk about my disclaimer. I am not diagnosing or treating. I'm only educating. So if the information I'm sharing with you feels right to you, do some more research, make sure that it is something that is right for you. I'm not telling you what is right and what is wrong. Discuss any medical conditions with your doctor, discuss any dietary changes with your medical provider. especially if you are taking medicines. So I forgot to mention that. Okay. So when to fast. So like I said, Dr. Greger recommends that you break your fast earlier, stop eating earlier in the day. A lot of people will do 16-8. They eat within an 8-hour window and then they fast to 16 hours. I prefer to have 5 hours between my meals, just eat and then rest and then eat and then rest and then have my time there. But it's what feels right for you as far as your timing and so forth. Some people, I want you to do some research. So Dr. Furman, he has a talk he's giving out on Thursday. If you Google Dr. Furman, I'm sure you can find it. If I find the link, I'll stick it in here. He'll be talking about intermittent fasting. Dr. Christopher, I went to the School of Natural Healing, which is Dr. Christopher's school. He talked about it years and years and years ago. You didn't break your fast until noon, and then you finished eating early. And so, which works for some people. I'm just letting you know, as far as dieting and weight control, Dr. Greger says it's better to eat earlier in the day. Like I said, in many religions, sometimes they fast on Saturdays or on the Sabbath or holidays. Some people fast during morning. So it is something that has been happening for a long time. Dr. Walter Longo is I think that's right, is the one who wrote the fasting mimicking papers. And so if you want to look up and learn more about that, I have some clients that actually follow that. And right now I'm reading Mastering Diabetes, which is very interesting. And they talk a lot about intermittent fasting for blood sugar control and insulin resistance and reversing insulin resistance. So I would like for all of you to look into intermittent fasting. Just start learning about it if it's not something you're already familiar with, and see what sounds right for you. And I can help you with that too. So once again, who shouldn't fast? Anyone whose blood sugar is out of control and anyone who has been under way too much stress. If your body feels like it's in danger, it is not going to be right for you. It's already feeling like you're going to starve or something. And so what does it do? When you fast, that your growth hormone goes up, and that is what helps with repair and restoration, which is very important, especially for those of us who are just chronically stressed. We're just go, 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 go. We need to rest. We need to take a time out for our mind and our body. We need our digestion to take a rest as well. And so that's very important. And so you can learn more about that, especially if you Google it. And so, like I said, right now, I am reading Mastering Diabetes just to help more and more people with insulin resistance. This is probably my 6th or 7th diabetes book that I'm reading, and it's mostly on insulin resistance and intermittent fasting. So I find that very interesting. If you have any further questions about fasting, any form of fasting, the fasting mimicking, intermittent fasting, time restricted eating, please let me know. I'm still new to this. I was very resistant to it. I didn't sound like something that was safe to me. And so I've been studying it for a long time. Was it 6 months ago? One of you introduced me to 1 meal a day. I had never even heard of that. If you do 1 meal a day, that is very difficult and not something that I recommend for anyone, because I don't know how you could get all of your nutrition in 1 meal a day. So what else am I reading? Well, I'm going back over my Nutritarian book. This is Dr. Furman too. I really love Dr. Furman. If y'all notice, I talk about him all the time. So his program, his Nutritarian research program, is actually coming back. So it's something that I participated in 5 years ago. It's where you eat the G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. You make sure you eat those every day for nutrition. And so this little book is pretty inexpensive, but it tells you all about that too. But his study is being reenacted, and they've contacted me and asked me to join again. And I'm excited about that. And my newest cookbook is Wild Plate. Isn't that a beautiful book? I bought it on the Amazon. It is raw vegan, which I know not all of you are very interested in, but if you are, you can see these pictures are beautiful. The foods are delicious. However, they are not something to eat long term. They're very calorie dense. So while they are delicious, then it's not something that I would think you would want to do every day. A lot of the recipes are complicated, but they're delicious and beautiful and wonderful if you are feeding a crowd and want to impress them with your raw vegan skills. Anyway, I'm going to check and make sure I don't have any other questions over here on Facebook. I do not. So if you have any questions about what I talked about today, please post in the comments under this video. And then please DM me or send me questions or send me a topic, something you want me to talk about next Monday. Oh, next Monday is a holiday, and so I probably will not do the Q&A next Monday, but the next Monday, if you'll give me something to talk about, that would be fabulous. You have a wonderful week.